Parshas Shelach this week, we have the story of the Meraglim, and when the Meraglim came back with their Lashon Hara on Eretz Yisrael, so of course Moshe Rabbeinu informed Klal Yisrael that they were going to be punished for that. And in Perek Yud Daled, Pasuk Lamed Daled, the Torah tells us an interesting lashon that Hashem told Moshe to tell Klal Yisrael, "B'mispar hayomim asher tartem es haaretz," the amount of days that you spied out the land, Arbaim Yoim, which was 40 days, Yoim Lashana, Tisu Asavoinoseichem. You're going to bear your sin, Yoim Lashana. Pashat Taich is that a year for every day they're going to be punished 40 years to be in the Midbar, and all the people in the Dar of the Meraglim were going to be Nifter, and then a new group will come into Eretz Yisrael. But that's Yoim Lashana, and a very bothersome question in the Diktuk Lashon HaPasuk, I was bothered with this for a very long time, is that l'chayr you would expect the Torah to say the words Shana Layoim, a year for a day. They went 40 days, so a year for a day they're going to get punished. What's Yoim Lashana, a day for a year? They only went 40 days and they got punished 40 years. So why does the Torah use the expression of Yoim Lashana as opposed to Shana Layoim? And the truth is that the answer to this, at least one answer to this, could be found in one of the Mefarshim on the side of the Mishnayos in Saita. If you have a Mishnayos Yachanu Boyaz that has the Rav and the Tiferes Yisrael, the Taisis Yantif, so on the side there's a Pirish called the Chidushay Maharich Mem Hey Reish Yud Ches, and in the Mishnayos in Saita in Perek Aleph Mishnah Tes, he says in answer to this, in the name of Harav HaChosid Rav Zalman Mivilna. Rav Zalman Mivilna suggested the following teretz based on a Taisis Yantif. There's a Taisvis in Saita Daf Yud Aleph Amid Aleph that asks that we know that Midah Toiva Meruba Midas Piranias, Hashem doesn't punish us as much as the good that He does to us for a Midah Toiva, for a mitzvah, for a davar toiv. So Taisis in Saita Daf Yud Aleph Amid Aleph asks a very strong kasha that we know that Miriam was rewarded that because she waited for Moshe Shah Achas, so therefore Klal Yisrael waited for her 7 days at the end of Parshas Ba'al Yisra. So that's a Midah Taiva, 7 days for that Shah Achas. But the Piranios that we got Yoim Lashana, 365 days a year for a Yoim, we got punished a Shana. That L'chaira is much more than the Midah Taiva. So here you have a Midas Piranios more than a Midah Taiva, and Taisis leaves this as a Tzarachian, and the Taisis Yantif on that Mishnah in Saita, Perek Aleph Mishnah Tes, suggests that in Chanami the amount of time might be more, but the fact that Hashem delayed the punishment and said that only every once a year, that only on the day of Tisha B'Av, with the people in the Dar of the Meraglim, they will die, and Hashem delayed that punishment for 40 years. In other words, it took 40 years for that punishment to be carried out. That was the Midah Toiva, that was the great leniency that Hashem showed in this Midas Piranios, that it wouldn't be done right away. And Rav Zalman Mivilna explains that really the punishment wasn't 40 years. Really the punishment was 40 days, because it was only once a year on Tisha B'Av that the story happened that they went into their graves, and those who came out knew that they would live, but they died, many of the people died every year on Tisha B'Av until the 40 years were up, and that's when the last of the people died from the Einish of the Chet of the Meraglim. So really it wasn't 40 years, it was really 40 days. But what was the Midah Toiva, what was the Chesed Hashem in this punishment? The fact, as the Taisis Yantif says, that it was nisacher, that it was delayed, that the punishment was spread out over 40 years, says Rav Zalman Mivilna, because if it was right away, then everyone would have died young, and then they wouldn't have had children, and they wouldn't have been able to be a future in Klal Yisrael Chas v'Shalom. So Hashem Dafka delayed the punishment, and He says that that's the nusach of the pasuk, Yoim Lashana. Of course we had to be punished to be in the Midbar for those 40 years, but Hashem was showing us that it was Yoim Lashana, one day per year, Hashem will give us that punishment, and that is the chesed of Hashem, that the punishment was delayed for 40 years. And the truth is, in the Sefarnai, one of the Rishayim al Torah, in the Mikrais Gedolos, the Sefarnai, when he teaches these words, Yoim Lashana, he says, Tisha B'Av Shel Kol Shana, which is really this pshat. in that one line that Yom Lashana doesn't mean Shana LaYom, that you're going to be punished a year for a day. It means Yom Lashana, 1 day per year, I'm going to exact this punishment. Yom Lashana Tisha B'Av Kol Shana. It's interesting, the same taich of Yom Lashana is said in the Svarim HaKtoshim. I saw once in the Tshuva of the Tzitz Eliezer Waldenberg, in Chelak Chaf, the 20th Chelak, Siman Ayin Hey, he brings from earlier Svarim HaKtoshim that say that this pasuk is a remez to Yom Kippur, because it says Yom Lashana, Tisu es Avonai Seichem, you're going to bear that sin 1 day a year, that you're going to be able to do tshuva, and then that'll be a kaparas Avonais. So the Svarim say that this pasuk is a remez to Yom Kippur, but that's with the same taich of Yom Lashana, 1 day per year. But the Svarim is saying it al derech hapshat, Yom Lashana, meaning the day of Tisha B'Av, 1 day every year. But that's this gewaldige pshat of Reb Zalman Mivilna to answer this Lashon HaPasuk, that it's not Shana LaYom, it's Yom Lashana, 1 day per year, the day of Tisha B'Av, in order that the punishment could be spread out, in order that Klal Yisrael will be able to have a kiyum. But the main nekuda that I want to talk about in this aspect of the punishment of Yom Lashana is the ha'ara of Rab Chaim Shmulevitz Zatzal. In the Sichas Musar in Tafshin Lamed Aleph, Maimer Chaf Beis, it brings in the Sichas Musar a shmuz that Rab Chaim Shmulevitz gave on the night of Shavuos, and he was bringing out really a different point in the shmuz, but Toich HaDvarim, he talks about the chait of the Meraglim and the punishment of the Meraglim, that the Meraglim were punished 40 years for that 40 days that they spied out the land. And Reb Chaim Shmulevitz asked a very yesodistic kasha. L'chayra, what was the punishment of the Meraglim? What was the aveira of the Meraglim that they got punished for? They spoke Lashon Hara. Moitziei dibas ha'aretz ra. They spoke Lashon Hara. That's actually the smichos ha'parsha, like it says in the beginning of the parsha, the Rashi in Pasuk Beis, the Lama Nismacha. Why is the parsha of the Meraglim close to the parsha of Miriam? Lefisha loksa aliskei diba shedibra ba'achiyah. Rashi brings from the Medrash Tanchuma that the reason that the Hemshech at the end of Ba'aloischa to the beginning of Shelach is because Miriam spoke Lashon Hara, and these people did not take the lesson and they spoke Lashon Hara. So the Aveira clearly in Chazal is brought out, even in the Psukim, Moitziei dibas ha'aretz ra, that they spoke Lashon Hara about the land that Hashem said was good. How long did it take them to tell that Lashon Hara? A few seconds, a few minutes, however long the speech was, however long the report was. So why do they get punished 40 years, Yom Lashana, for the days that they were Taru Es Haaretz, for the days that they spied out the land? The traveling for 40 days was not the Aveira. The Aveira was coming back and giving the bad report. So why do they get punished? If the punishment is Mida Keneged Mida, it's so clear that it was Yom Lashana, so l'chara the Aveira didn't take 40 days. The Aveira took those few minutes. So why is the punishment Yom Lashana? And Reb Chaim Shmulevitz adds that in Rashi in Perek Yud Gimel Pasuk Chaf Hey, Rashi brings also from the Medrash Tanchuma that really it should have taken longer to go throughout Eretz Yisrael. Vayashuvu mitura aretz miketz arbaim yoim. Rashi says arba meis parsa takes much longer than that. Harei Mahalach, so Rashi says, El shagalu lifnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu sheyigzar aleim yoim lashana kitzer lifneihem es haderech. Hashem gave them kvitzas haderech, made it that they'll be able to go quickly. You could imagine if it would have taken them 80 days and they would have been in the Midbar 80 years. So Hashem made it that it would go quickly. So you see again, klar, that the einish was destined to be for the amount of time that they were taru es haaretz, that they spied the land. Frekar Chaim Shmulevitz, this bomb kasha, that l'chayra, if the einish is for the chait wasn't the traveling, the chait was the bad report. Zakr Chaim Shmulevitz, a Meiradiki Yesai that you see from this parsha, from this inyan, and that is that the chait of Lashon Hara shtams, the root of the chait of Lashon Hara is in what you see and how you see it. If they spied out the land, they could have been seeing the good. Rabbi Yosef Chaim Sonnenfeld Zatzal used to say when people come to Eretz Yisrael, he would tell them, Ure'ei b'tuv Yerushalayim, the pasuk in Tehillim, in the Shir HaMa'alos, Ure'ei b'tuv Yerushalayim, see the good Yerushalayim. David HaMelech is saying, see the good. What do you mean see the good? There's good, there's bad, there's all different types of things, but there's an inyan Re'ei B'tuv Yerushalayim, and these people came, the Meraglim that came to the land, they looked, they saw negative. Hashem did a good thing that made them all be busy with levayas in order that they wouldn't be focused on the Meraglim, and they said Eretz Oicheles Yoshvehi. They kept seeing things with a negative spin. They had such amazing fruits because of the Kedusha of Eretz Yisrael, and they said, oh, this is a land of giants. So they saw the negative in a way that they could have seen the positive. That brought them to the the Lashon Hara. So yeah, they uttered the words in a few seconds, but that's not what they got punished for. They got punished for that ayin ra, for that way of perceiving everything that was in front of them, perceiving their experience with a negative spin, with an ayin ra. And that's what they got punished for. How long did that take? That was Arba'im Yoim. And if it would have been longer, Chas v'Shalom, it would have been a longer punishment. So Hashem gave them Kvitzas HaDerech that it should only take 40 days. But that was the Midah Keneged Midah, the Yoim Lashana, Yoim Lashana. And Reb Chaim Shmulevitz says that this really spreads to many areas in life. He makes a tzushtel to the idea of Kibur Ava'im. We know there's a mitzvah of Kibur Ava'im, Kabir Es Avicha V'Asimecha, and everyone thinks that that means you have to bring them a drink and bring them food, and if they ask you for something, so you should listen to them. Zok Reb Chaim Shmulevitz, Kach Mekublani. I have a Kabbalah that the mitzvah of Kibur Ava'im is in the way you perceive your parents. It's not just about the actions. The culmination of the Kiyum HaMitzvah is bringing your father the glass of water. But when your father is tired and he's hungry and he asks for something to eat, or a glass of water, or he asks for his slippers, or he asks for anything that he wants you to bring him. So the Kiyum HaMitzvah B'Shlei Musa, says Reb Chaim Shmulevitz, is with the Ayin Toiva. You perceive your father as someone who you have such Hakaras HaToiv to, someone who's such a chash of a person. Even in the Welt, he might not be such a chash of a person, but in your eyes, you see the good, you see the milos of the father and the mother, and then you're mechabed them. It's a very natural thing. The teva of a person, surely a young child and a teenager, is to think that his friend's parents are cooler, his friend's parents are nicer, and if I had those parents, then I would do kibbut ava'im karoi, but my parents tell me to do things that are not practical and that are not understanding, insensitive to my feelings, they don't understand me as a child. No, you have to work on your perception of your parents in a positive way, and then you'll be able to be Mekayim the mitzvah of Kibur Ava'im Karoi. Just like the Meraglim were supposed to perceive Eretz Yisrael in a way that would give them a positive report, the same thing when it comes to Kibur Ava'im, person has to look at their parents in a chashuv way. It's interesting that Reb Chaim Shmulevitz says, Kach Mekublani, that I have a Kabbalah, that he was Mekabelet from his parents. This idea in the mitzvah of Kibur Ava'im, Lamaisa, I found after many years that the Chayei Adam says this beferish, and it could be that this is where the Kabbalah of Reb Chaim Shmulevitz came from. The Chayei Adam in Hilchas Kibur Ava'im, you could look it up inside. It's in Klal Samach Zayin of the Chayei Adam. That's where he has the Hilchas Kibur Ava'im. In Sif Gimel, he says that Kibur Ava'im is not just b'maisa, but it's also b'dibur, the way you talk to them, u'b'machshava, and the way you think about them. Zokt the Chayei Adam dahainu sheyidme be'enov. You should think in your eyes shehem gedolim v'nechbadei aretz, that your parents are gedolim and very mechubadik people. Af shebe'enei shar b'nei adam einam chashuv klal. Even though you don't have to be disillusioned that they think like, oh, they're taka, really the Gedolei Adar. Look around, people are not so machshav them, but it doesn't make a difference. Everyone has a certain status in the community, and everyone is looked at differently by different people. But as a child, you have to be mechabed them even more than what their status is in the eyes of other people. Sheyidme be'einav sheim gedolim v'nechbadei aretz v'zeu ikar kibud, says the Chayei Adam. This is the ikar kibud, because if not for that, then you're just doing it, for superficially, and the superficial actions is not the essence of Kibur Ava'im. So this is mamish like Reb Chaim Shmulevitz is saying, and he brings out this yisoid from the oynish of the Meraglim. If it was Yoim Lashana, that means that Avera was in the days that they were Taru Es Haaretz. That's because they looked at it with a negative spin, and they could have changed that. It was biyadam, it was biyacholtam, to look at things in a positive way, and that's a very important lesson in life, to train ourselves to all the experiences that we have. We could look at it as negative and say someone else had more fun, someone else was able to do better. But we could look at it in a positive way and see what the Rebbeinu Shalom is mezaka us. This is very negea on vacations. You can enjoy the vacation. You took pictures and you were able to experience in such a great way that can last you mamish for many months, the great feeling of a vacation. And then you hear that someone else went on a different vacation. You think, oh, maybe that place would have been better. Maybe he did things more. Maybe it was cheaper. Or maybe fakir, it was more expensive and it was more lavish. And I just had a cheaper vacation. Don't look at other things and make a negative spin on your experiences. Adarabba, the ayin toiva is something that's so important, to look at other people, to look at your experiences, and this is really true. The Reb Chaim Shmulevitz says it about Kibud Ava'im, but it's true about Kibud Kavod Habriyas, just being mechabed other people. The Noam Elimelech, the famous nusach that he wrote, Adarabba, Tein B'libeinu, Shenira Kol Echad Malas Chavireinu V'loi Chesroinam, which means that we understand that people have milas and people have chesroinus. We know that that's true, but we ask Hashem that we should be able to focus on the malas Chavireinu, and that's something that we could train ourselves, we could work on, and that's the lesson of the Meraglim. If the Meraglim got punished Yoim Lashana, which again, the Taich of Yom Lashana we're saying is that day, only Yom Lashana, Tisha B'Av of every year, but Lamaisa was 40 years, connected 40 days. That shows us that the Aveira is not just in the report, but in everything that led up to it, and that's how we have to train ourselves to see things with an Ayin Toiva. I want to add one more inyan today, and that is something at the end of the Parsha of the Meraglim, at the end of Perek Yudalid, in Pasuk Mem, the Pasuk says that Vayashkimu ba'boiker, the next morning there were people who woke up early, Vayalu al Rosh Har Leimer, and they said, okay, we learned the lesson of the Meraglim, and we are now going to go up to Eretz Yisrael. And Hashem says, whoa, Moshe says, it's not going to work. At this point, Hashem doesn't want you to go to Eretz Yisrael. Al ta'alu, don't go up, Kein Hashem bekir bechem. But Vayapilu in Pasuk Mem Daled, an interesting word, Vayapilu, it means that they were stubborn and they were forceful. La'lois al Rosh Har, they went up. The Aaron didn't go, Moshe didn't go. The tragic ending, totally annihilated the people that were called the Mapilim that went up. So I remember when I was in Camp Aguda many years ago, Rabbi Belsky Zatzal asked the obvious question, Vayapilu, what were these people thinking? Hashem told us that we're going to go into Eretz Yisrael, we're going to be Matzliach, and we sent spies, and we said, no, we know better. It's not going to work. Now, Hashem says, don't go, and they say, no, we're going to go, Vayapilu. And they get killed, they get slaughtered. So what were they thinking? What was these were sensible people, Bali Madrega. What was the Havamina? What was the mistake of the Mapilim? What was their possible cheshbon to understand why they would do such a thing? So Rebelsky said a fascinating insight. The Shirish Hadvarim is in the Arachayim HaKadosh, on that pasuk of Vayapilu, La'alois El Rosh Har. And the Arachaim says that the Mapilim thought that their Maisa was going to be a tikkun for the Chet of the Meraglim. And here Rabbi Belsky went a little different and said, what was their thought? Their thought was that it was going to be a tikkun because the Meraglim were supposed to show Chavivas Eretz Yisrael. They were supposed to love Eretz Yisrael and want to go at all costs, even if there's giants, even if it looks scary. But Hashem told us you're going to be able to be Matzliach. They should run to Eretz Yisrael and be excited about Eretz Yisrael. Now Hashem says it's not going to work. But the Mapilim felt we are now supposed to be Moiser Nefesh to go conquer Eretz Yisrael. It's not going to work. Al Pidar Chatav, it's not going to work. But Hashem wants us to be Moiser Nefesh because of our Chavivas Eretz Yisrael. We're going to go and we're going to show that at all costs we're ready to go to Eretz Yisrael. The Arachayim HaKadosh says it a little differently, that they thought it would be a tikkun because now they're going to show bitachon in Hashem. That's a little shver to say, because if Hashem says don't go, it's hard to say that they wanted to show bitachon in Hashem. So Rabbi Belsky said a little differently, not the nekuda of bitachon Hashem, but that chibuv of Eretz Yisrael, that they wanted to show that they were going to go to Eretz Yisrael at all costs. That's what they felt would be the tikkun for the chet of the Meraglim. But the mistake was because that's not true. It's not the Chavivus Eretz Yisrael that Hashem wanted. It was the Chavivus of Eretz Yisrael when there was a tzivui to go to Eretz Yisrael. Because Hashem wants you to listen to His words. Like Shmuel HaNavi told Shaul, after Shaul left over Agag, so the Pasuk says in the sad words of the Haftarah of Parshas Zachar, where Shmuel HaNavi says, Hine Shemaya mizevach toiv, lahakshiv mechei levelim. It's a Pasuk in Shmuel Aleph, Perek Tezvav, Pasuk Chav Beis. Greater than bringing a carbon to Hashem is listening to the words of Hashem. And you didn't listen to the words of Hashem. You were supposed to kill Agag, and you left him alive. Hine Shemaya mizevach toiv, a very yisaidistic point. And that's what the Tos of the Mapilim was. That they felt that they should go up to show Mesiras Nefesh V'chiv Eretz Yisrael. Really, Hashem just wants you to trust Him and to listen to Him. If Hashem says go into Eretz Yisrael, it's an Eretz Zavas Chalav Dvash, so don't send Meraglim and judge on your own that it's not going to work. Hashem wants you to go, you listen to the Dvar Hashem. Now Hashem says, Al Ta'alu, don't go up. So now the Nisayan is, don't go up. Not to fight and dafka go up. Fakert, what you're supposed to do now is listen to the Dvar Hashem, listen to the Tzivoy Hashem. And what's fascinating is, Rabbi Belsky said this Yisoid, it was very important. Yisoid, the lesson being that a person is supposed to just listen to the Dvar Hashem, whatever the halacha is, not to make your own cheshbonis and what you're supposed to do, but to listen to what the Rav paskins, to listen to what the Mishnah Berurah paskins, to listen to the Dvar Hashem. That is our avodah, to be loyal avdei Hashem. But one of the kinyanei Torah, it says in Pirkei Avos, is Shemea Umoisif. If you hear something good, you record it, you write it down, you register it in your mind, and then you try to be moisif throughout your life, other makairis to this, other ha'aras in this inyan. And I was zoichet to be shemeu moisif on this vart, and I was moisif this ha'ara to Rabbi Belsky Zatzal, and Rabbi Belsky liked it very much, and he was mishabeach it. He gave me a lot of covet in front of other people. He said it over in my name, and this is a isafa that's very dear to me, that it's interesting that this tikkun was the wrong tikkun that the Mapilim did, because they thought the tikkun was to be chayviv Eretz Yisrael. That wasn't the nekuda. It was to listen to the Dvar Hashem, and that they weren't doing, because the Dvar Hashem at that point was not to go up. But the Benoist Tzalafchad, they taka had a chavivus of Eretz Yisrael. They wanted a chelik in Eretz Yisrael. In Parshas Pinchas, Parach of Zion, in the very beginning, it says that they wanted a chelik in Eretz Yisrael. But what happened? Vatikravna Benoist Tzalafchad. They brought their Shaila to Moshe Rabbeinu. Vatamoidna Lifnei Moshe, they stood in front of Moshe Rabbeinu and said, what is the Dvar Hashem? What is the Das Torah? And Moshe Rabbeinu didn't know, and then he asked the Shaila, and Hashem said that the psak of the B'nai Salafchad, that they should marry to people in their Shevet. But Al Kolpanim, they had that Chavivas Eretz Yisrael, but it was tempered with the understanding that it has to be, we're not going to go make our own decisions. Who were the B'nai Salafchad? So they said, Avinu meis b'midbar. Our father died in the midbar. Zok Rashi over there in Parshas Pinchas, in the name of Reb Shimon, the Tana Reb Shimon, that B'nai Salafchad came from Salafchad. Echad min ha'mapilim hayu. Tzalafchad was min ha'mapilim. And the Gemara in Shabbos, Tav Tzadi Zayin Amud Aleph, brings this in the name of one of the Tanoim. Rashi brings it from Reb Shimon. There's a source in Chazal that it was Reb Shimon, but the Gemara in Shabbos says that was the Shita of Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira, that Tzalafchad was min ha'mapilim. It's another Shita that he was the Mekoishesh. But either way, Avinu meis b'midbar, according to that Tana that says min ha'mapilim. So you see a beautiful Zach. The B'nai Tzalafchad came from Tzalafchad. And according to Rabbi Belsky's Yesod here in the Mapilim, you could say that Chavivus of Eretz Yisrael was in their bones. Just like their father wanted to go up to Eretz Yisrael at all costs, they had the Chavivus of Eretz Yisrael, but they learned the lesson. Vayapilu la'alei salahar. They got smitten, they got hit down. Vayakum anachama. Why? Because then Moshe Rabbeinu told Klal Yisrael the vart was not to go to Eretz Yisrael. The vart was to listen to the Dvar Hashem. Hine shemaya mizavach toiv. If that's the case, the B'nai Salafchad, they channeled their Chavivus Eretz Yisrael dafka in a way that's going to be with the Das Torah. They brought their mishpat in front of Moshe Rabbeinu. They wanted to know, what is Hashem's Das? What is the Ratzon Hashem? What is the Das Torah? And that was taka, the emes tikun of the Chet of the Mapilim. And this is a very important lesson in everything that we do in life. We have our own hergish, our own feeling of how we want to do it, but what we really have to do is follow the Das Torah. I'll end with a fascinating, interesting story that I read once about Rav Yosef Ber Soloveitchik from Boston, that there was a lady that came to him, a modern lady, who decided that she wanted to wear a talis. She saw that the men in shul wear a talis and tzitzis, and she decided talis is a chashav mitzvah. The truth is, talis is the mitzvah of tzitzis is in this week's parsha, and it's at the end of the parsha in Shelach, and the Gemara in Nedarim Daf Chafei Amud Aleph says, Shkula mitzvah tzitzis keneged kol mitzvah shabbatayra. It's a very chashav mitzvah. It has a lot of inyanim. If it says shkula keneged kol mitzvah shabbatayra, you see how much Chazal were machshiv the mitzvah of tzitzis, and it has a lot of inyanim, a lot of segulos. One of my favorite ones I heard in the name of the Kaf HaChaim. I don't think I ever saw it inside, but the Kaf HaChaim says that if someone has a toothache, pain in his teeth, he should be zayir in the mitzvah of tzitzis, because there's 32 strings in tzitzis. There's 8 strings for each corner and the 4 corners, and there's 32 teeth. So the mitzvah of tzitzis is connected to teeth, and supposedly the Kaf HaChaim said that a remez ladavar is the first Mishnah in Bava Metzia, Shnayim oichazim batalis, which of course talks about something totally different. Shnayim oichazim batalis, 2 people are holding a talis. Zakta Kaf HaChaim, Shnayim could also be read Shinayim, teeth. If a person has an issue with their teeth, oichazim batalis, you grab hold to the mitzvah of talis, and that's a tikkun for if your person has a tooth issue. I would recommend he goes to the dentist. But in addition to that, you daven and you try to do segula. So what is the segulas? The segula is to be zayir in the mitzvah of tzitzis. But al kolpanim, the mitzvah of talis, the mitzvah of tzitzis is a chashav mitzvah, but it's not given to ladies. So this lady wanted to be mekayim the mitzvah of talis and the mitzvah of tzitzis. So Rav Yosef Ber said, why do you want to do that? She said, I feel like it'll bring me gate kedusha. So Rav Yosef Ber said to her like this. Most Rabbanim would have just said, please get out of my office. It's against the halacha, and that's it. Rav Yosef Ber said, you know what? Let's start slow. If you feel you want to connect to God in a way of wearing this mitzvah, let's first put on a beged of 4 corners like the talis without the strings. Come back to me after 2 or 3 weeks. If you feel that spiritual elevation with the talis without the strings, then we'll see if you're ready for the next step, and then we'll attach the strings. She said a great idea, and she wore the talis for a few weeks without the strings, which is of course not any mitzvah at all. If anything, fakert, when you're wearing a beged of dalet kamfos, that's mechayiv you to wear the strings. But al kalpanim, she wore the beged, she came back after a few weeks. Rabbi, I think I'm ready. I think I'm ready for the next step. Well, why do you think you're ready? Because I felt that closeness to God. I felt that spirituality when I put on that four-cornered garment. So Rav Yasher Ber said to her, my tayar Efroi, this is nothing to do with the mitzvah of tzitzis, because the mitzvah is not wearing the beged at all. The mitzvah is wearing the strings on the beged. You did not do anything in the mitzvah. So it's all in your mind that you think that you want to do what the men do, and therefore you want to put on talis, you think it'll bring you closer to God. It's not the mitzvah at all. And he sent her away. I don't know how happy she was, and I don't know what she ended up doing. But the nakuda is this point, that when a person feels that he wants to get closer to Rebbeinu Shalom and he wants to do the right thing, it's not our judgment what is the right thing. You ask your Rebbe, you ask your Rav, you ask a Das Torah, and you follow what is the Ratzon Hashem. If the Ratzon is Al Talu, Ki Ein Hashem B'kir B'chem, then don't go, because that could be dangerous, it could be life-threatening. Adrabah, what we do is ask the Rav and ask objectively, trying to get the right answer, not to look for a kula or to look for a chumrah. You look for the right answer, you look for the Das Torah, and hopefully we could take these two lessons of the Meraglim. Firstly, the Yom Lashana, the nice pshat of Reb Zalman Vilna, why it says Yom Lashana and not Shana LaYom, but more practically, the eitzah of the Rav Chaim Shmulevitz, the lesson of Rav Chaim Shmulevitz that he brings out from the Yom Lashana, which is that the Aveira of Lashon Hara is predicated on the Ayin Ra, on the way you look at things, and everything, Kibur Avayim, Kavod Abrias, everything that we have, all depends on how we look at things, and it's in our hands. If we could get punished for it, that means we could get rewarded for the opposite, and that means that it's something that's in our Yechilas to work on, to train ourselves with that Ayin Tova, to see things in a good way, and also the lesson that Rabbi Belsky brought out from the Mapilim, that the Mapilim felt that they should have that Chavivas Eretz Yisrael at all costs, but the Nakuda is not this mitzvah or that mitzvah. The Nakuda is the Tzivui Hashem, and if the Tzivui Hashem was to go to Eretz Yisrael, then that is what we're supposed to be Moshe Nefesh for. If the Tzivui Hashem is Al Talu, then that's what we're Moshe Nefesh for. Everything that we want to do is Al Pi Hashem Yachanu, Al Pi Hashem Yiso, whatever the Mishnah Berurah says, whatever the halach is, that's the best way to be true Ovdei Hashem, according to the halacha, and Eretz Hashem we should all be Zoicha to make the right decisions in life, al pi das Torah, al pi halacha. With that will be Makayim the pasuk, v'asisa hayosher v'hatoiv be'enei Hashem.